So far, this is their second game against the Virgin Islands, and so far off to a good start. Bill Walton shooting 75% from the field, 9 of 12. Carmelo Anthony, the team's leading scorer, but Michael Redd has been the big story on the last couple of possessions. He has scored 5 consecutive points.
Michael Redd would have been on last year's team, but he was excused because he was getting married. He's a career 39% shooter from behind the NBA arc, had a career best 27 points per game in an injury-marred season for Milwaukee a year ago.
Jason Kidd comes up with another pinch for the USA.
The United States is up in the passing lanes. They're not worried about getting backdoored. They've got Dwight Howard behind them. If he's not out there, they've got Amari Stoudemire. Amari Stoudemire's not out there. It's Tyson Chandler, who played the fewest number of minutes for the United States last night. 10 minutes for Tyson Chandler. There's that zone defense,
attacking it in.
And while some would say that Michael Redd's presence on the team last year, they wouldn't even have to play this summer, one of the arguments against that, Mark, is that
I happen to agree with that, by the way.
But will Michael Redd be on the court if the game is really tight? Who's he going to? You're going to take LeBron out? You're going to take Carmelo out? You're going to take Kobe out? And Michael Redd is not the ball-handling type of guard.
Well, you know what? If you're looking at a Spain or a Serbia or a Lithuania, a team that's going to pack it in with big people underneath, I think you have to have a shooter like he or Mike Miller on the floor. And if this truly is a situation where the stars, the quasars like Kobe, like LeBron, like Melo, are to subordinate their egos a little bit, no, it won't be a problem, right?
You go tell those guys that they're sitting on the bench. But our congratulations to Michael Redd, who was the 43rd overall pick in the 2000 draft. He just 2 years ago signed a 6-year, $91 million contract.
And you gotta love a guy who buys his father, a pastor, by the way, a brand new church in Columbus, Ohio, with some of the proceeds of that brand new contract. The United States leading 26-9. Outside shot, no good. Rebounded by Dwight Howard. Jason Kidd,
what up, D? What up?
attempting the bounce pass out of bounds off of the Virgin Islands as Stoudemire and Billups get set to check into the ball game. And don't forget that FIBA America's Championship action continues Saturday at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. The United States takes on Canada. Canada winning today against Venezuela, bouncing back. But the bad news for the Canadian squad there is that Leo Routen's son,
to everybody who tunes in. My groin was torn.
ACL and his MCL.
We just came from Atlanta after coming from Brazil.
Upcoming season at Syracuse as Michael
we went to Rio de Janeiro,
consecutive 3-ball.
And then we went to play in Atlanta.
Because things start getting tougher for the United States after the preliminary games against Venezuela and Virgin Islands. Not traditional powers in FIBA basketball, but Canada ranked number 16, Brazil 17. Tomorrow, the first day off for the United States. And then it starts getting serious. Redd again.
I got Redd feeling it.
We are seeing a team, the United States, that is so focused, so determined. One of the things that's really got them going is that Jerry Colangelo has wisely brought in Spencer Haywood as sort of a legend and a host for the whole tournament. And Spencer is there at all the games, all the functions for the team, and he has really become a mentor to a lot of these players. Spencer Haywood, the youngest player to ever represent the United States in the Olympic Games. That was 1968, barely edging out LeBron James from the Athens Games just 3 years ago.
I knew that wonderful Walton trivia was just around the bend. USA leading 32-9.
What up, yo?
And in a very staunch man defense still. Edwin's jump shot is off the mark, rebounded by Carmelo Anthony. The United States doing a nice job on both ends. The offensive and defensive boards. And Michael Redd electing to drive to the bucket that time, and he's fouled on his foray to the cup.
And all of these players who never went to college, they should be personally thanking Spencer, or maybe even giving their
I know where you're going on this.
He's the guy in 1971 when he sued the NBA to allow the underclassmen, because there used to be a rule that before 1971 in a successful lawsuit by Spencer Haywood that you had to have gone to 4 years of college before you could enter the NBA. And my, how things have changed.
Michael Redd, meanwhile, knocks down the free throw. Redd Averaged almost 27 points a game this year with the Milwaukee Bucks and already has 12 points. The meter's still running with 2:17 to go here in the first quarter.
But Michael suffered that devastating left knee injury last season. There was a meaningless dunk he threw down with only 14 seconds to go against Cleveland and LeBron in early January in a game that was already decided. They were losing badly by 9 points.
We need to get back into the win column. We will, family, soon. We'll be back there.
Sure seems fine right now.
We'll be back there,
the
man.
Stroke's okay. Mike
I
Miller,
believe in him.
another dead-eye shooter in the ball game.
I believe in him.
Virgin Islands finally getting a bucket. That was
It won't
Jameel
take too much.
Haywood.
The next game, we'll be in it.
The 6'6", 30-year-old who averaged 5.6 points a game in the recent Pan Am competition. LeBron taking a break on the sidelines. The United States leading 34
I'm going to check
to
the
11.
schedule, matter of fact, too.
At stake here, 2 spots to the Olympic Games when the dust settles on September the 2nd.
The United States has never lost in FIBA America's Championship.
Michael Redd driving that time, and he's fouled by Carl Krauser. There's Carl Krauser, who played at Pitt for 4 years, out of the Bronx, New York. You think back to some of the days when the college guys used to play against some of the other countries, Bill. And I remember watching a game in particular, 1976, Butch Lee lighting up the United States.
Dude, what's
and I'm
up,
saying
family?
to myself, I don't remember Butch Lee
All love to
being
you,
Puerto
B.
Rican when he was
Evans.
playing for Marquette, but he had roots in that country.
The eligibility rules are always nebulous in international competition. And while Tim Duncan was born in the Virgin Islands, very few of these guys representing the Virgin Islands today were born there, but at some point they had to have some relative in their ancient lineage that allows them to qualify as a representative of that spectacularly beautiful Caribbean island archipelago that consists of 60-plus islands, the main ones being St. John's, St. Croix, and St. Thomas.
Knows nothing of what he talks about, Bill Law, right now.
Batted away underneath. So Michael Redd get a breather on the bench. Chauncey Billups in now, along with Stoudemire, Mike Miller, and Tayshaun Prince. Here's Miller from outside, and Miller.
It was tough playing with a ripped groin, though, man.
39-11.
The last time, the only time that the Virgin Islands had played the United States, the game that Tim Duncan voluntarily stepped aside for, the United States won by 58 points without Tim Duncan. But my sense, I was part of
He was a little self-conscious, didn't want to play against his countrymen.
Today, it was Kobe's birthday this game, too.
Gesture. You say, hey, but that's my country. I don't want to go out there and pound them. But my sense is that Tim Duncan did not have a good time at the Athens Olympics. And as it's moved on and they've won more championships since then.
2007.
I'm not sure if we're going to see Tim
2007,
Duncan in the international competition anymore.
I think he's done.
He's done his job. Sadly, he did not get the gold medal that all these players so desperately crave.
39-13. You speak of the adjustments to international officiating. Tim Duncan in particular had a tough time with some of the calls made against him in Athens. And when you look at the tape and remember the games, you understand perfectly why. Darren Williams kicks it out to Tayshaun Prince.
Only sometimes you can see me hurt. You can see that I'm hurt. Only sometimes. You can see how I move, that I'm not regular. Even right there.
Krauser kicks it back out.
Krauser, they call him Black Magic from the Rucker Leagues in the streets of New York.
Here's Prince with the rebound.
Always love, always love. Nobody, they don't say that for people in they shit. You know what I mean? They don't show them that love, family. They don't do that. I'm just saying. I appreciate that, Bill Walton. Legend.
They pretty much think, we're going to win this one.
The United States three-point marksmanship tonight has been on point as Chauncey Billups.
Yep, 2007.
You're watching the 2007.
Yeah, me and Kobe talked a lot. Me and Kobe talked a lot, yo. Kobe. Kobe told me they was watching film on me because of me, like all type of stuff, yo. Me and Kobe got mad cool doing shoot-arounds.
Stream it live.
Let me get past this
ABC
commercial.
with YouTube.
But yeah, me and Kobe, like Kobe used to come, like if we was outside or we was like going to shoot around, Kobe would come get me and talk to me and he would tell me mad personal stuff, and he'll talk to me about, you know, just being a good person at the same time, just being who I am. You get me, being that strong New Yorker, and don't let anybody waver what I think in the world and how I'm thinking, because I'm on the right track. Kobe used to tell me a lot of stuff, yo. And he used to always tell me, don't think the NBA isn't watching. He used to tell me so much personal stuff, talk to me about his experiences. Kobe was mad cool, yo. Like, literally, yo. I played for the Virgin Islands. Yeah, but Kobe was wild cool. Like, the day before this game, the night before this game, they was playing against Venezuela before this. And he was talking to me, calling me out, pointing to me, because he was guarding the point guard the game before this. And he was like, he was guarding Vasquez. They used to play for the Grizzlies from Venezuela. And I played with his cousin overseas in Venezuela. But anyway, Kobe was talking trash because he was locking him up and getting cookies on him. So he came to me and pointed to me when we sitting there with our bright ass uniform, sweatsuits on. We had it's like neon yellow, light blue, and white. And we're sitting there in those jumpsuits, kind of like that, you know what I mean? Kind of like how you see there. And those are the color our jumpsuits, so it's kind of crazy. And we're sitting there as a team. He was like, yeah, I'm guarding you, Mr. Black Magic. Mr. That old Black Magic, Mr. New York City, the Bronx. Him and Jason Kidd came over there to the Out of Bounds and started talking trash to me. So I was like, yeah, right. You already know. I started going crazy, talking crazy back. But he was laughing, showing love. You know, just like, yeah, I know you're a better competitor. I know you tougher. We did research on you. Like, he was like, yeah, we studied you. We watched film on you. You the only player we ever watched film on. I'm like, come on. It's just so much I'm going to get into and so much I'm going to talk about. It's real. But Kobe always talked to me. Even during their shoot around before, like earlier before this day, when we had shoot around in a different gym, Kobe would call me over, and I see the coaches and different people on my team would feel mad and salty and sick about that. And I'm chilling with the USA team, during their time or whatever. It was mad cool. The coaches talking to Nate McMillan, Boeheim, Coach K, showed mad love, everybody. Even after this game. They was like, we had to go into a 2-3 zone because of the guard penetration of Carl Krauser. It's just a fact.
Record-setting territories for most points scored in a quarter, in a half, and
mind you, my groin is ripped and torn, and I kept tearing it when we played in 2 different tournaments before here.
Right now, and certainly the fans would love
look how I'm moving because it was that important.
Paul West head coaching.
Wow, great extrapolation.
Yo, Black Magic, peace. I'm out. All love, family. Have a good night, my dude. Blessed to you. I appreciate you.
I do know one part of math.
Salute,
40
Dylan.
minutos de infierno means 40 minutes of heck. Nolan Richardson is coaching the undefeated Mexican team right now. He's got them playing down there.
They beat Puerto Rico in their first game yesterday and looked very impressive doing it. They were in charge for most of that game. And here's one more look at Amari Stoudemire, who says, along with his assistant coach of the Phoenix Suns, Phil Weber, that he's adding a 3-point shot to the arsenal that he's seriously been working on this summer. This time, Amari underneath, fouled, and he'll get 2 at the free throw line. Stoudemire saying that he can envision himself being, get this, Bill, the most improved player in the league next year, as well as Finals MVP. Wonderful, lofty aspiration.
I would love to see that be the most improved, and the MVP, and another All-Star, and a league title. But I do not want to see him ever take a 3-point shot.
Why?
It's not his game. His game should be underneath the basket. They've got 3-pointers. They've got Steve Nash. They've got Raja Bell, who's not playing tonight because he's not on the roster. Just had knee surgery 6 weeks ago.
On the Virgin Islands, yeah.
Right, and we really hope that Raja is going to be all right by the start of the regular season for Phoenix.
Phoenix is an unconventional team, though. Doesn't that give them that much more of an added dimension to have your big be able to step out and shoot threes?
They need low post presence, Mark. I mean, come on, enough of this Kevin Garnett saying I'm a forward. He's a center. Amari Stoudemire is a center. Get down there. Men are made in the paint.
Oh, you're so conventional. Love you. Carl Krauser with the jumper from outside.
What
makes
up?
it 45-18.
Up.
Here's Mike Miller back the other way. Tayshaun Prince. Little 2-man game here, weak side with Williams. Good ball movement by the United States, and even though Miller can't cash in with the jump shot, They showed a lot of unselfishness on that possession. Here's Krauser for the Virgin Islands. Carl Krauser took Pitt to the NCAA tournament in 4 consecutive years. It's a 3-on-1. No help for Krauser there as he watches Miller on the left-handed leg.
I appreciate that.
The United States coming back, realizing that when
he
there's only
one
defender back,
man.
keep the ball on the sideline.
I appreciate
when there's 2 defenders in a fast break situation, then you keep it in the middle and get to the free throw line. Chauncey Billups just exquisite in running that break.
On the baseline, nice move by Victor. Approaching 7 minutes to go here in the first half.
Some of my players, you'll work that Radio Shack.
But they've slowed down offensively. They had 42 points after the first 10 minutes, and now 4 minutes into the second quarter, they've only scored 5 points total.
Yeah, look, we're coming back. Fucking with me in the game, right? We're coming back.
Well, that's what happens when you set the bar pretty high in the first 10
that
minutes.
Old Black Magic in there.
Inside.
Yo, he is different.
Ball knocked away, and then the Virgin Islands get it back. Trying to go inside to Kidwana Reimer, and it's knocked away by Stoudemire.
We had no post presence.
Well, the WNBA playoffs continue Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. Game 2 of the Western Conference matchup between the Sacramento Monarchs and the San Antonio Silver Stars.
Kobe and Gigi,
Two of the best players
and the
in the
people,
WNBA
and the rest of
matchup
the
is
people
Kara
that lost
Lawson
their
leads
lives.
the defending Western Conference champs Monarchs against Becky Hammon and the homestanding Silver Stars. The WNBA playoffs on ESPN2, and what a difference Becky Hammon has made this year. A lot of people speculated that that trade to San Antonio from New York wouldn't benefit her, but it has been a blessing for both as Williams converts off the transition.
And here I thought it was the time Becky spent as the sideline reporter on the men's game.
On that inside, huh?
This past season's NBA.
49-20, the United States in control.
But the Virgin Islands, part of the Greater Antilles chain of islands. They're located just east of Puerto Rico and about 1,000 miles south of the furthest south point of Florida.
Which makes for an easy hop on a plane if you live in South Florida, like yours truly. Here's Jason Kidd bringing it up court. A 29-point advantage. Kobe Bryant's been conspicuous by his silence, and Tyson Chandler gets on the scoreboard, which he failed to do last night in the game against Venezuela. Chandler brought in to add a little size and shot blocking for the United States.
Chandler, the only player for Krzyzewski's USA team that did not play in the first half last night.
Krauser with a nice move off the dribble to get the open pass, and shot good by Jason Edwards.
Kid. That's up.
And what the advantage of all the depth does for the United States is that nobody has to play too much, whereas every other team with the limited roster capabilities, they're having to have a grind-out struggle every single night. And the Hall of Famer Mike Krzyzewski, who's been coaching U.S. national teams since 1979, this guy has a roster that anybody would just salivate over.
Brain trust on the USA sideline, very impressive. The jump shot off the mark, and Chandler with the rebound.
And it doesn't even include Chris Bosh or Dwayne Wade, who are both out with injuries. Darren Williams on fire right now.
And speaking of Dwayne Wade, spent a little time with him a couple of weeks ago down in South Florida. And Wade recovering from surgery to his knee and his injured shoulder. The dislocated shoulder that he suffered in February against Houston, says the shoulder's coming along fine along with the knee.
Assist.
Jump shot good from the top of the key by Reimer, and Wade expects to be back in action on the court somewhere probably around the first week of November, maybe a few games into the regular season. Time out on the floor. We'll be back with more after this. Welcome back, everyone, to the Thomas and Mack Center, the FIBA Tournament of the Americas Championship. The United States leading 53-25, and the emergence of Carmelo Anthony continues to be a big storyline.
He has set a pace that no one else can match offensively. Now, Carmelo Anthony is one of only 3 players on the U.S. squad who played on the World Championship team that won the bronze medal. LeBron James, Dwight Howard being the other 2. Carmelo Anthony also the only player on the U.S. roster who has an NCAA championship. Kobe Bryant, the only player who has an NBA championship. He's got 3 of those, courtesy of Shaquille O'Neal.
As Carmelo form a little triangle with Bryant now on the low blocks. Kobe Bryant.
Happy birthday,
Off the
Kobe.
mark
It was
that
his
time
birthday,
and
too.
rebounded by the Virgin Islands coming back in transition. It's Edwin.
A little bit of complacency setting in, a little bit of relaxation after the blistering start. The United States scoring 42 first quarter points. My mathematical calculation shows that they've only scored 11 since then. There's Jim Herrick Sr., who is the father of the assistant coach for the Virgin Islands, Jim Herrick Jr. The last time we heard a lot about the Herrick family was when they were coaching together at Georgia. That ended not so well. Now they're coaching together for the Bakersfield team in the NBDL.
Can't believe you didn't use the prefix UCLA legend.
He coached UCLA to its last NCAA championship in 1995.
Jim Herrick and the head coach, Sylvester Anderson.
Things didn't end well at UCLA for Coach Herrick either.
He grew to 27. Sylvester Anderson, the head coach of this Virgin Islands team, has been their head coach dating back to 1985. Jason Kidd. Hey, who says that you can lay off Jason Kidd? Knocks down the perimeter jumper, makes it 58 to 27.
But how about Jason Kidd? Last night, plays 15 minutes and doesn't take a shot. Just everybody else going. Just a dream point guard. Like Steve Nash, like Magic, like Lenny Wilkins, just has no interest in statistics, no interest in individual glory. It's all about the team with Jason.
Carl Krauser gets hammered to the floor by Tyson Chandler. Let's get back to that Jason Kidd thing. We've all seen scouting reports that say you can lay off him a little bit. In the international game next year, the United States, say, hypothetically playing against Spain. Are they going to drop off?
Jerome Williams can't guard me. Chill out, yo. Shout out to Jerome Williams, but he can't guard me. And I got a torn groin.
On the jumper. The rest of his game, the defense, the rebounding, the passing,
the
intensity, the intangibles, it's always there. But some days, he looks like as great a shooting point guard as ever played. And in other games, you say, this guy can't even make a layup. And it's really remarkable because we've been watching Jason since he was a high school player in Oakland, California. And the fact that he hasn't been able to become a consistent shooter, it's mind-boggling to me because we know so well how hard this guy works at every part of his game. And I'm intrigued to see if that's going to be the story. Oh, beautiful back cut pass. Kobe Bryant rejected at the rim, but Carmelo Anthony just zipping that ball in.
I could be impressed with the way that they're moving the ball, Anthony, going to the free throw line.
But one of the limitations on LeBron James's game at this point is the inconsistent outside shot. And if Jason Kidd can't do it, that means that there are some guys who never get to the point where they can knock it down. Will LeBron James be one of those guys? Or as his game evolves, will he become one of the premier perimeter shooters?
Meanwhile, Jason Kidd now 29-0 as a member of the U.S. senior national teams. Remember, he was the captain of the Olympic team back in 2000 that won gold in Sydney, Australia.
And Jason, the last successful international competition for the United States.
And it was interesting that in the initial meeting back in July when the team got together for 3 days of minicamp, Jerry Colangelo stood up and spoke to the team en masse and said, hey, there's only one guy in here with a gold medal. He pointed at Jason Kidd. He pointed out that Jason was undefeated, and Jason kind of
Dwight, come on, Dwight.
Turned around to his teammates and pointed and said, hey, don't mess around with that record. Dwight Howard committing the foul on the play. 3:09 to go in the first half.
But Jerry Colangelo, who's the head of this whole operation, the project for the United States to try to get back to their rightful position, as he points it out. 20 years ago, Jerry Colangelo, after founding the Phoenix Suns in the late 1960s, Jerry Colangelo bought the entire team for $44.7 million. Just this past
Jason Kidd's having trouble guarding
out the door as the head guy for the last time as Robert Sarver takes over on the purchase price of $401 million. That's quite an appreciation. 10 times in 20 years for the Phoenix Suns. What a franchise.
It's a return on investment for sure. 3-on-2. Carmelo fouled and one. Anthony hacked by Ellegar, and he'll get a chance to complete the three-point play off the good feed. Right now, this USA team is a monument to unselfishness when it comes to ball movement here. LeBron with a look away.
Well, all of the key guys really like passing the ball. Now, that caveat has a exemption with Kobe
Yo,
Bryant.
you can. What's up, Blake? What up, famo? That's up. RP, Kobe, and Gigi, and the family.
Jason Kidd and LeBron and Carmelo will change that remains to be seen.
61-31, under 3 minutes to go here. I'm Mark Jones.
Oh, chill out, Jason Kidd.
The second game for the United States in the Tournament of the Americas. Last night they defeated Venezuela. Tonight on the docket, it's the Virgin Islands, and here's Kobe Bryant.
The Virgin Islands, which were named Las Islas Las Virgenes by Christopher Columbus back in the 15th century.
They
named the Virgin Islands after St. Ursula and her 11,000 virgin companions and followers. So congratulations to St. Ursula.
I'm just still impressed with your Spanish. It's wonderful, especially the 40 minutos de inferno, the 40 minutes of heck.
Man, Cole was talking a lot, man. Cole showed me a lot of love, bro.
One of the
whole
good
thing.
stories, feel-good, warm and fuzzy stories of this
every time.
Tournament of the Americas as
shoot around
Shepard goes to the free throw line off the foul.
Spanish is my 6th language. After stammering, stuttering, stumbling.
This game was his birthday.
Maybe a little bit of broken English, and then Spanish, having grown up on the California-Mexican border right there in San Diego.
61-34. Here's a look at Sylvester Anderson on the right and Jim Herrick Sr. on the left. Sylvester Anderson, the current head coach at Jackson State,
where Lindsey Hunter played his college basketball under a true legend, Andy Coughlin. And we hope that Andy Coughlin is doing well in retirement. So there's a man down for the Virgin Islands. Can the United States capitalize?
5-on-4, they go inside to Dwight Howard and Wisely. The Virgin Islands committing the foul. It's going to go against Kidwana Reimer. And you had brought up the name Roger Bell a few moments ago when referring to the Virgin Islands. Roger Bell was born in the U.S. Virgin Islands, eligible to play, but underwent surgery some 6 weeks ago, recovering on schedule, but unable to take part in this competition.
One of the advantages that the Virgin Islands has, as say opposed to Venezuela or Uruguay, is that they never get to play against the real top-tier United States players. But these guys playing college basketball throughout the United States and then going home to reunite for their
you hear me trying to make a
Islands. The mystique is not there that so many of the international players have when they come up against the United States as super elite players for the very first time as we come in at the under 2-minute mark of the second quarter.
Howard makes 1 or 2 free throws to make the margin 62-34. If you've watched some of the play here so far, you'd have to say that
it's a foul.
Maybe the only 2 teams that are going to give the United States a run would probably be Brazil, A, and B, Argentina. Brazil had the day off today after defeating Canada yesterday. Argentina played its first game and won against Uruguay. LeBron looking pretty good so far.
Yeah, bro.
Back
Peace,
after
bro.
this.
You changed the world forever. Fact.
1:36 to go in the first half. The United States in control, 62-34. But the Virgin Islands, Bill Walton, outscoring the United States 21-20 so far in the second period.
The United States offense has ground to a halt. And some of that is the sense of relaxation after the tremendous spurt at the beginning that got the huge lead. But this United States, they have to find that level of self-motivation, drive, and determination that ignores the opposition and then just goes out and tries to play against an ideal standard of perfection. Carmelo Anthony continues his pursuit of that.
Carmelo Anthony, one of the better mid-range shooters in the league, has that great little jab step series, Bill, and used it effectively that time to give the United States a 30-point lead. Anthony with 15 on 5 of 6 from the field. 1:10 to go here, and that's going to be a foul underneath against the Virgin Islands. Now, in FIBA basketball rules, much like the NBA, you shoot the penalty on the 5th foul. And there's a look at the foul underneath against Reimer.
But you don't shoot offensive fouls at any level of basketball at all. So sometimes at the NCAA level, it's very confusing as to how they allow offensive fouls be committed while still scoring a basket.
And Carmelo Anthony going to earn himself, Bill, another trip to the free throw line that time.
One of the great stories about the Virgin Islands is Walt Frazier, who easily one of the 50 greatest players in NBA history. Walt Frazier, the guy who authored arguably the greatest seventh game in the history of the NBA playoffs. When Walt retired back in the late 70s, he invested in a franchise in the short-lived U.S. Basketball League, and he moved to the U.S. Virgin Islands and obtained a charter boat captain's license. But then when Hurricane Hugo came in 1989 and wrecked everything, destroyed his home, destroyed his business, he came back and became the television analyst on the Knicks broadcast. But now he still has a bed and breakfast, Walt Frazier does, in St. Croix. It is truly a spectacular place.
Yes,
congratulations
Shout
to
out
Walt
to the
for
V.I. St. Croix.
using basketball to make a better life for himself rather than letting basketball use him. That guy is as great a champion who has ever lived, Walt Frazier.
Pretty innovative thinker. And I just really dig the hats that he used to wear back in the day, frankly, Bill. 65-34 with Kevin Shepard at the free throw line, the 27-year-old, averaged about 5 points a game in the recent Pan Am games. The Virgin Islands, Bill, coming off a very significant victory a few months back, and for one of the first times in a very long time, I want to say ever, defeating Puerto Rico, and a lot of the players felt buoyed by the confidence that they gained in that. And for them, a small, tiny island nation like the Virgin Islands, to defeat Puerto Rico, somewhat of a giant on the big picture landscape, was a big accomplishment for them.
It's a very similar program where so many of the players go to college in the United States to learn how to play, but they don't have the population that Puerto Rico has. Puerto Rico is a major island of one huge one. But with St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John literally have maybe 50,000 people per island. All the rest of the little cays and islands are literally nobody on them. You're talking a couple of 100,000 people to draw from your talent pool.
Krzyzewski watching as Dwight Howard commits the foul.
We're talking about the upcoming competition with Argentina and Brazil. Brazil looks to be the best team outside of the United States in this competition. Argentina, they're missing their top 5 players. And if you look at it from a big picture point of view for Argentina, it appears that they're just trying to rest their guys, their key guys, Ginobili, Nociones, Roberto, and get ready for next year.
That could be kind of perilous, though. I mean, that's when you're trying out on the last chance, like next July, if they don't make it here, have to qualify next summer, that can be kind of tenuous.
But the 3rd, 4th, and 5th place finishers will receive automatic berths to next year's pre-Olympic qualifying. They get rested, they come in fresh, they play their NBA season this year for Chicago and San Antonio. Carlos Delfino, he's hurt right now. He's playing for Toronto. The half ends in the United States. They're going to hear it from Mike Krzyzewski about the letdown here, as the second quarter was very competitive, unlike the first.
And Carmelo Anthony doing a lot of the heavy lifting early in the ball game. 17 points and 5 rebounds as the United States takes a huge lead into the locker room at halftime here at the FIBA Tournament of the Americas. 66-39. We'll be back.
Tonight, I'll be eating a falafel wrap with sweet potato fries. Thanks.
Splitsies?
Come on, yo.
Oh, you meant the food, didn't you?
What's this? That's crazy. Bogus city.
The bright lights of Las Vegas, Nevada. Look at the Strip downtown. City that never met a hotel they didn't like.
They're building a new arena there. At least one, maybe 2. We'll get into that in the second half.
66-39 as we get ready for the start of the third quarter. Time now for the AT&T highlights.
LeBron James along the baseline. Nice defensive rotation by the Virgin Islands. But then the USA team out in transition. Everybody getting involved. The touch passes back and forth. Once again, LeBron throwing it down. Movement without the ball was exemplary. The camaraderie between LeBron and Carmelo Anthony, who's able to finish strong at the hoop despite the foul. Both teams getting to the free throw line and able to convert there.
Look at the big three. Carmelo Anthony in 13 minutes got 17 points. Kobe Bryant with a quiet 5 tonight, but he does have 3 assists. LeBron James with 11 minutes on the floor tonight and 6 points. And not shown up there on the screen, Michael Redd had 15 points. All 15 of the points, Bill, coming in the last part of the first period.
He had a 3.5 minute stretch where he had 15 points. That is Wilt Chamberlain-esque. But then we never really saw him again, as Krzyzewski has such a arsenal to draw from, and he's not going to wear anybody out, because not only do they have to play 10 games in 12 days, there's an NBA season that starts their training camp on October 1st, and these guys have obligations there as well.
Well, the United States not the only team getting ready for major competitions, participating in other games. Spain recently playing against Germany, and Juan Carlos Navarro, now the Memphis Grizzlies, leading the way with 18. Dirk Nowitzki had 14 points. France defeating Portugal. Tony Parker back from that ankle injury. He had 21 points. Boris Diaw got the team's insurance and clearance to play from the Suns. He had 4. Slovenia defeating Italy.
Lee Ball
Andrea
Candy,
Bargnani,
my brother, the Dirk.
So coming
What's
back from
up, family?
actually Lithuania part defeating Italy. Bargnani coming back from a back injury, but getting back to Spain real quick, right? Some interesting news today out of Toronto. Jose
What's up, y'all?
will not be allowed to play. The Raptors not clearing
baby.
Jorge Garbajosa
Dirk,
to play
what's the
because
word,
of
Dirk?
that somewhat gruesome injury that he suffered against the Celtics earlier this year.
What's up, baby?
Hopefully, Carvalhosa will be able to get all the way better, but it's going to take a long time. These injuries are just brutal.
Saluting Kobe and Gigi and the families that passed.
The European qualifying, which is going to get underway shortly in Spain, it's the European counterpart to what we have here in Las Vegas, the FIBA Tournament of the Americas.
Eurobasket getting underway September the 3rd in Spain, and the Spanish team and some of the team players from Spain that I've had a chance to speak with really looking forward to
I got you, Lee
getting
Ball.
things
I'll
back
tag
to where they
you
were
in
a
when I
season
play
ago when they won
the
the World
pick game.
Championships and doing it on home soil.
They play a beautiful style, and they were able to win that championship without the services of Pau Gasol, who had broken his foot in the semifinal match. But Greece, after beating the United States, Greece, they failed to show up in the gold medal game.
And that's being nice. Here's a look at the teams that have already qualified for the Olympic Games. China gets in as the host nation. Spain gets in as the winner of the World Championships last year. And Iran winning the Asia zone because China already got in.
It's only a 12-team tournament, so 9 spots still to be determined, and you would have to think that the United States would get one of those. But when you look at the Virgin Islands first half scoring, Krauser, we've talked about him at the top. He led the team with 9. Edwin had 9 as well. Shepard had 7. Reimer had 7. And with the Virgin Islands outscoring the United States in the second quarter by 226-24, you have to believe they have the confidence right now to try to make this a more competitive game.
LeBron James with great defensive rotation coming up with the steal. Kobe Bryant with the reverse.
Chill, Cole. Chill,
And Kobe with some pyrotechnics on the reverse layup.
Mama.
71-39. We talked just a few moments ago about how he had a pretty quiet first half, but Kobe Bryant celebrating his 29th birthday today with a sweet layup for the score. And we talked about yesterday, Bill, the fact that he has really dedicated himself to getting in prime condition. Kobe Bryant, look at him, folks. He has lost 18 pounds since the end of his regular season with the Los Angeles Lakers. He says, interesting, he talked about mortality a little bit, said, hey, you know, I'm pushing up on 30 now. The metabolism isn't what it used to be. And Kobe Bryant has always been the type of guy, admittedly, that has been able to get away with eating whatever he wanted to. Pizza, ice cream, hamburgers, all the fun stuff, Bill. But now it's a steady regimen of baked chicken and fish and greens.
But a year ago, he professed to have bulked up to carry a heavier load. This year, it's a different story. And that's really been the story of Kobe Bryant's career. Every single season, it has been some other focus, some other outside element that's defined who he is, and that's one of the major reasons why this, at age 29, is the first time he's ever been able to put on the United States jersey.
Kobe Bryant recently, and within the span of 24 hours this summer, said that first he wanted to be traded by the Los Angeles Lakers, then recanted the majority of those statements. And during the course of this USA Senior Men's National Basketball Team camp and tournament, he has refused in large part to comment on that situation, not wanting to detract from the focus here
Yo,
for the
you went
American team.
I can't imagine the Lakers trading.
Congrats to you getting that.
Who are you going to get for him?
Not value, that's for sure, though.
Maybe Steve Nash, but Steve is
playing against them with the ripped torn groin.
San Antonio's not trading him. LeBron James is Cleveland going to trade a 6 or 7 year younger LeBron James for Kobe Bryant, who might not enjoy making that move from Los Angeles.
I'm happy for you, son.
Here's a look at the foul called against the USA. Kevin Shepard driving the bucket.
That's awesome.
Tremendous defense by
way to get out there and get some basketball in you, man.
Shepard, the 27-year-old, averaging 5 points a game in the recent Pan Am games.
Basketball, enjoy life. Enjoy traveling, living life, and not existing in it. That's
as
awesome.
well as Argentina.
Salute to
college
you.
basketball
Yes,
at Jacksonville.
man, you got out of there.
University they placed a legend artist Gilmore.
Man, make a brand, get your joint, keep the brand going.
The United States,
man,
and there is the Phoenix Suns influence that Mike D'Antoni perhaps has imparted on the USA. The fact that they run out after a make.
We'll get the chicken in different currencies, fam. They don't understand, baby. When the passports are stamped up and got different passports, they don't know that.
I'm shocked that this
I had 3 different passports. They don't understand what that
is.
It might have been
the NBA with the N1.
They don't know what that was. Multiple different chickens you spend and shit. They don't know what the currency change is.
Then they go back to their regular teams, and their coach is saying, slow it down.
Come on, man. You gotta be different. We appreciate the opportunities you give the man and work hard every day, man. Pray to God and work hard.
In the 2007
Appreciate
FIBA
yourself
America's
and your
Championship
family and your
this
health.
weekend. Join us Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2 as the United States takes on Canada and finishes out full play on Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. That's the big one against Brazil. All games also available on ESPN360.com.
Appreciate you,
2007 FIBA America's Championship
me and JK was talking
on the ESPN family of networks. That Brazil game going to be very, very interesting. They've got Nene and Leandro Barbosa both playing for Brazil. And
like New Yorkers,
Splitter has looked particularly well so far. A big man, about 6'10", an NBA draft pick by the San Antonio Spurs. Splitter played his European professional basketball in Spain, arguably the best league outside of the NBA. But
it used to be Italy, but it's shifted over to Spain. And Splitter, as Kobe Bryant was serenaded by the fans on his 29th birthday here. It is so nice to see Kobe smiling. People raving about Splitter. I have not had the privilege of seeing him play yet, but all the coaches for the United States just say this guy, he has really been a force. And Leandro Barbosa, who had 30 points in their first game for Brazil.
I have more points than Kobe Bryant right now. How crazy is that? With a torn groin.
Moments ago singing happy birthday to Kobe Bryant. On this, the day that he turns 29. Good defensive help by Dwight Howard. And here's the United States in transition. Jason Kidd back to Carmelo Anthony. Inside, Howard fouled.
I was like 26, I think.
And speaking with some of the players, they say that Dwight Howard is, quote-unquote, they've got new vernacular. He's beasting people. He is just a beast inside, and brings up a point that we were talking about during the break. Interior scoring. The United States was hurt by interior scoring against Greece in the loss last year in the World Championships. Conversely, does the United States team have enough of that interior scoring at the other end?
This is not the type of roster big man-wise that has players in the lineage of Wilt, Kareem, Shaq, Kevon, 4 of the 5 greatest centers to ever play basketball. These players were... Now, throw Tyson Chandler out, who's not an offensive factor at all. But Amari Stoudemire, Dwight Howard put up good numbers.
Young Frankie
there are more dunkers, there are more finishers on other people's creativity. These are not the type of players, Howard and Stoudemire, who you just say, okay, post him up, give him the ball, run a post split on the ball side, run a down screen or a back screen on the weak side and say, okay, let's run our offense through that. And that could very easily be a liability for this United States team. Oh, that shot banked in.
Victor knocks it down, and there are going to be times, maybe not this tournament, but next year in the Olympics, provided the United States earns one of the 2 spots here, that they might have to throw it down on the block and get something out of a Dwight Howard or an Amari Stoudemire.
But it's emblematic of the decline of the big man in basketball in general.
Anthony with the bucket.
And with Dwight Howard and Amari Stoudemire both choosing to forego an opportunity to play college basketball. Tim Duncan, the great big man, he had the greatest big man in the game today, along with Shaquille O'Neal. Between the two of them, they had 7 years of college basketball. 4 for Tim at Wake Forest and 3 for Shaq at LSU.
And Jason Kidd knocks it out of bounds off of the Virgin Islands Elegant. And it's coming back the other way to the United States. Jason Kidd, once again, ubiquitous. He is everywhere. And that pass was everywhere. Passed it to himself. Come on. Kobe from downtown coming up a little bit short. Out of bounds. Been a slow night offensively for Kobe Bryant. There's Sylvester Anderson, the head coach of the Virgin Islands. Currently the head coach at Jacksonville University.
Kobe seemed a little bit more determined to get some shots up in this 3rd quarter.
So he's had a pretty good trigger. And here he is with Jason Kidd on the break. He put that off the board. LeBron James for the finish.
Come on,
You can see that coming.
I'm definitely not jumping for that, Spider.
Points for the United States, cruising once again.
Chill,
Jason Kidd poking it away.
Boy, Jason Kidd filling his hat with steals.
Yeah, chill. Give me them cookies.
Kobe had it knocked away by Krauser out of bounds. It'll be United States basketball.
Yeah, you know, I got the good foot out
this
there.
This is a team certainly lethal in transition, as shown there.
But
what happens, the question begs, what happens when a team limits possessions because of the shorter clock? It's only a 40-minute game as opposed to 48. What happens when you've got a shorter game?
And a team that shoots the ball well, which neither Venezuela or the Virgin Islands have done. There's another lob pass.
That one for Dwight Howard with the slam.
Dwight Howard, that was good too.
We've got about 8 or 9 screensaver / Sports Center moments already here in the ballgame. Krauser a little bit strong. Kidd on the push.
I'm excited about looking at the opportunity of Dwight Howard playing for Stan Van Gundy, who I think is just a top-tier coach. A new coach in Orlando. They're going to get a new building down there, so everyone in Central Florida is ecstatic about the direction of Orlando, which for a while there was a question whether they'd even remain in the state of Florida.
Come on, Cole.
Carmelo Anthony at the free throw line with the United States leading 80-44. You think about the journey of Carmelo Anthony after the 2004 Olympic experience, Bill, which was very impropitious for him. He was seen and perceived, true or otherwise, as a bit of a malcontent in Athens while playing for Larry Brown on that team. But the following year, after they were eliminated by the San Antonio Spurs, the day after, remember this story, he called up Steve Hess, the Denver Nuggets strength and conditioning coach, said, "Steve, take me out on a run." They went and worked out. He got his body in shape. He dropped about 15 pounds, and he has been a different Carmelo Anthony ever since, really peaking, maybe not, with the World Championship performance last summer.
Well, there were nothing but problems on that Athens Olympic team, on the